Hey, hello folks, it's me, I'm back again. It's been a while. I haven't done a video in a while. I've been a busy man as always, got family, you know how it is. Got to look after everybody and get the work in. I thought I'd do a video today because I bought a new little toy. I bought a new Sony toy, and that toy is the Sony NW A105. When this was announced sometime in September, I thought I'm definitely going to get it because it's got a new thing called Android. And I thought to myself, Sony with Android, brilliant. Another thing I discovered when it was announced that this new one will have a wonderful USB-C. Again, I thought to myself, wonderful. Sony's getting rid of that WMA port at last. Great news. Now, I'm comparing the A105 to my trusty A55. I've been using the A55 for about 6 months now, and I've been using this for about 4 days now, and I just want to give you a little short comparison of the two. Now, as you can see, they're about the same size. I think the 105 is a smidgen taller, just a smidgen taller. Weight-wise, the A55 is heavier than this. This is quite lighter. So if I look at this, the build quality, as you can see, you've got buttons on the side, which are wonderful. Look at the buttons on the side of this. Wonderful buttons compared to the A55. Look at that. See? There's a big difference. The buttons on the A105 are certainly better, well made, and yeah, I think they're made from steel or something. This one is definitely made from, this one here is made from plastic, as you can see. Now, big difference. This is the Walkman app. This is what the app looks like on the A55 compared to this. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of icons on here. Now, it has its own separate Walkman app. I'm just going to tap it so I can compare it with the A55. Tap that. That opens up. There you go. Right. The panel is more or less the same. Let me just give that a little wipe down. Getting a bit dirty. Smudge all over the screen here. Right. It's more or less the same, as you can see. The differences are, you've got the folder. Okay, actually, no differences. Okay, let me see. Sorry. The differences are, my mistake, you've got the folder app on the 105, as you can see. The folder app is there. And the newest. So you've got a separate thing here. You've got the newest and oldest there. We compare the two. You haven't got composer here. You got genre. And then you got the there's slight differences. But the new one, for me, the one I like the most is this one here. The newest one, as you can see. Sorry guys. As you can see from there, the newest to oldest. That one I like because when you put music files on there, it's also called the recently added, which I like. This one doesn't have the recently added, which I might be wrong, but it doesn't have the recently added. So that's why I like this function here. Another thing is, on the A55, you have the Bluetooth receiver, the DAC, and the radio. And on the A105, all that goes out the window. You haven't got that with this. So that's the big difference. On this, you have the Wi-Fi, you've got the Android, and that allows you to download your streaming services, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon HD, you name it. You can all do it from here. Let me show you what this thing can do. As you can see on the icons here, you got the app. That's the Walkman app here. This is the equalizer settings. As you can see from there, this is the noise cancelling. If you've got noise cancelling earphones, you can put that on there and use the noise cancelling. You got the Google Store, Google Chrome that I don't use. I think this Mora here. First off, I just forgot to mention, this is a Japanese version. This is a Japanese version. I didn't buy the UK version. I'm in the UK here, but I didn't buy the UK version because I know it's going to have that volume limiter rubbish. I don't like it. It just dulls the sound to my liking, and it really have to push. Basically, I have to maximize the volume. The volume on this is okay. If you've got a high impedance headphones, I wouldn't advise you, but there's a workaround it. I'll tell you the workaround it in a minute. Remember, we've got a USB-C port here, so that means you can put a USB DAC. Yeah, and it works, but only in certain situations. Right, let's quickly go to the app here. Okay, come on here. There you go. Let's go to the Walkman app. There you go into the Walkman app. You've got the high-res music. I've got a couple of high-res albums in here. That's about it. A couple of high-res albums. And then you've got the album. It's basically the same thing as the A55. I'm not going to really show you the UI. It's the same thing. Now, what this does that I like is the streaming services. I've got Spotify here, as you can see. I've got Spotify at the bottom there. I've got Spotify. I've got USB Audio Pro, which I use for my DAC. I've used it with a couple of DACs. I've used it with my Mojo, Quad Mojo, and I've also used it with my Hidis Sonata HD, which is just a dongle. You can hook to it. It sounds very good with that Hidis. It sounds very, very good, and it sounds very, very good with the Quad module as well. With the Quad module, you connect with your USB-C to micro USB that adapter cable. I've got a feel when I use. I'll do another video, and I'll show you how that connects, and it works well. Now I've got the Spotify there. I've got a couple of albums, as you can see. Been playing it. Sounds wonderful. Sounds good. Now let's quickly talk about the sound, because I want to make this short. I've got things to do. Let's talk about the sound. Comparing both of them. Sound wise, using my trusty, you know what this is, beautiful sound. This is a beautiful sounding headphone. I was comparing this headphone with my Sennheiser 59X from Mass Drop. It's now called Drop. And I compared both of them. I just love the sound of this better. For some reason, the mids on this just something else. The mids on Sony HD 59X, I think it was 59X, I think it was. Yeah, the mids on that was way in the background for me. Just didn't come up. It was way too. It was just not too great for me to listen to. So I got rid of it. Now, what what I did was I compared the sound of both, and I can tell you they sound very similar. I really did a lot of comparisons over the weekend. They sound very similar, but for my money, the A15 edges it. It sounds more dynamic compared to the A55. The A55 is okay. It's nice sounding machine. DAP. I've discovered something. I've discovered the old what's it called? Clear audio. When I use the clear audio on this, it's really, really nice. I really like it. By the way, this also has the clear audio. As you can see, it's also got one thing I like as well, direct source. Turn that on. It gets rid of all the electronics in the machine. I don't know how it works, but that's your direct source. I've used it. For me, it doesn't make any difference. Doesn't really make any difference for me. So you've got the DSEEHX. This one changes the bass a bit, makes the bass a bit more pronounced. You've got the dynamic normalizer. You've got the vinyl processor in here as well. You've got the clear audio. The clear audio on here though doesn't make as much difference on here. It doesn't make it sound better than the A55. With the A55, it makes it sound a lot better with the clear audio. I find it makes a big difference on the A55. It sounds a lot better with the clear audio. With this, no. With this, it sounds just wonderful. wonderful on its own. You don't need any equalization. You can play about with equalization if you want, but to me, it sounds wonderful. Differences, the mids and the bass is better on this. Now again, it depends on your headphones. It depends on your headphones, but for me, on using this, the mids and the bass sounded way better on this compared to the A55. The A55, and another thing it has that I like about this, the sound stage is way better on this. It's a lovely listen. This, when you're listening to music on this, especially high res music, oh, I just love it. The classical music, the jazz, it sounds wonderful on this. I wish it had more power. I'll be frank with you guys, the power in this is not enough. You're going to be putting that volume up. If you've got high impedance headphones, don't use it. But the wonderful thing is you can connect this to a DAP. You can connect this to a DAC, sorry, and use this with a DAC. It's wonderful with a DAC. So when you have a DAC, if you have a DAC, it's a very versatile player. Just use it as a transport and Bob's your uncle. Everything's sorted out. Sound-wise, I rate this better than the A55. The A55 has its usefulness. I love it for the Bluetooth receiver and the DAC. This one does the Bluetooth as well. As you can see from the back, it's got the NFC logo there. So not much differences from the back of these two. Not much differences. This one does Bluetooth as well. LDAC, Bluetooth sounds wonderful on this. Obviously, they're using the LDAC, so it sounds wonderful on this. But music-wise, from using the 3.5mm socket, this sounds better than the A55. The A55 has that little thinness in the sound. It's a bit thin. The difference to me is that dynamic sound. This sounds more dynamic. For me, the mids, the bass, and the sound stage, better on this. Definitely better on this. This one, the mids, also wonderful, but it just sounds a bit thin. When I put the clear audio on this, it sounds good, but not as good as this. To my ears, this sounds a lot better. And volume-wise, I think they're the same volume-wise. I matched the volume on both of them. They're the same. So there's not much difference. What I'm going to do, maybe in the next couple of days, I'm going to put a video out, another video, and showing you guys how to connect the chord module to this A105, and it sounds wonderful. It works very, very well. Battery life is not great on this. I'll admit it to you guys, the battery on this is not great. I put it in standby and I left it overnight and I lost 35%. That is not good enough. I think there's a bug on this. Sony, you need a new firmware for this, but the standby time on this is not great. Standby time on the A55 is great. This will last you days on standby time. But here, it won't last you more than 2 days at most. You'll be lucky if you get 2 days on standby. Just start using it. Just put it on standby. Turning off the Wi-Fi. The first thing I did when I got this, I turned off the Wi-Fi, turn off location, turn off find my device, and I still lost battery life on it. So the battery life on this. Another thing I've noticed as well, when you're using the Walkman app on here, is more efficient than when you're using a third-party streaming app. I think the volume on here is not as when you're using this, you save more battery using the Walkman app. I think they've made the Walkman app very efficient. But when you're using a third-party app like Spotify, where's my Spotify? When you're using a third-party app like Spotify, you need to increase the volume slightly, and the battery starts going down a bit more when you're using this. It's okay. It's not that noticeable, but the volume you have to put up a bit, and then you lose a bit more battery. So the actual Walkman app is more efficient. But for me, using Spotify, using the Walkman app, using Google, and all the other streaming services, it sounds wonderful. I really like this player. It's gonna be a hit for Sony for sure. But my advice to you: do not buy the Euro version of this player because you're going to be volume restricted. The volume on this is great, but not the greatest. You need, you can buy the UK version if you got a DAC, if you want to use the DAC, but if you want to listen to that nice Sony lush sound, then get the Japanese version of this player. You really won't regret it. Anyway, that's my short video of the two. I'll be keeping the A55 for now. I don't know, I might sell it, but for now, this is the new king for me because it sounds wonderful, and I love the lush sound of this. This sounds a bit thin compared to this now, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one. So for now, I just put up a little video for you guys to see. Thank you for all the comments. Please subscribe. I need to get a minimum of 1,000 subscribers. So if you like the content, I'm not an expert. I read all the comments. I love all the comments. Thank you for all the questions. I'm not an expert, but this is just a little hobby for me. I have a couple of players, and I like putting a little content out just to help people that might want to buy. So if you're looking for a nice player, nice Sony player, get this. You won't regret it. I think it's a lovely device from Sony. A few bugs with the standby time, but I'm sure they sort it out. But UI wise, really good UI. I really like this. What else was I going to show you? That's it. That's basically it. That's the settings. That's all the settings and stuff, and that's basically it. Thank you for watching, and bye for now. Bye.